Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, ideas, and suggestions, and put everything together, hoping to find ways to better connect with each other, better connect with our destination, and become a nice community of English locals living here in Puerto Vallarta permanently. Some of you are not living here in Puerto Vallarta, but there is a very important place in your heart for our city, and we appreciate that. We appreciate this very much. We also appreciate that today, Monday, there's all kinds of information to share and things to talk about, so I'm excited about that. Today is Monday, 29th of May. The month is almost over. The anniversaries of Puerto Vallarta as it was founded as a city and a municipality are coming up. So we have all kinds of interesting information to share with you. I hope you had a good weekend. I had a great weekend. A good opportunity to relax, restructure, and think forward about how we are going to keep this wonderful project afloat. And today we'll begin a series of important announcements. But first, I want to welcome everyone to the broadcast. As always, particularly those of you that are watching live for the first time, it is always a pleasure to see you. And it is always a pleasure to welcome you, which we can do if you add the word new at the beginning of a comment. And that will allow us to identify you as a first-time live viewer. And we'll be happy to say welcome. And of course, if there is something really important that you would like to share with the rest of us, a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment goes a great deal. Goes a long way for us to be able to find it during our comment section later on today. And I don't see any Qs yet, so we will be looking for those in a moment. But first, let us start going through the news just to see what we have in store for today. Let me put these up on my screen, and there we go. Oh, oops, black screen, no good. Let's change that to that. A beautiful view of our city. Wednesday is May 31st when Puerto Vallarta, and that is the date in which Puerto Vallarta celebrates its annual double anniversary for its foundation, both as a city and as a municipality. As always, the city announces a celebratory program that takes place at Los Arcos in the Malecón, and this year is no exception. This year, the events will begin at 6 p.m. with the usual formal session and the presentation of this year's Premio Vallarta Awards in its different categories. This is the prize or the award that the city gives to its own people in different areas. There is one for culture, there's one for this, that, and the other. We recall that a few days ago, we published that there had been not enough entries this year for this award. So we hope that the city found a way to generate these entries into the award. Anyhow, at 8 p.m., there will be an anniversary cake, followed by a presentation of the Xutla folkloric dance troupe. There will be, at 9:30, there will be a presentation of the Nahuales dance group. They will be doing a performance, followed by mariachi and other musical groups. Then at 11:45 at night, there will be fireworks, followed by a surprise artist at midnight. And this all, of course, is happening on Wednesday. So if you're out and about, this would be something you may want to see. In addition, an exhibition of historic Puerto Vallarta photographs titled La Imagen y la Memoria, or Image and Memory, will be on display at City Hall starting today, featuring images created by photographers Rodolfo Pulido, who was considered the first photographer that chronicled Puerto Vallarta's history. There will be images by Harry Rode, who came on assignment to Puerto Vallarta in the 1950s representing Life magazine, and two other photographers that I'm not familiar with. One who's named Oscar Rosales and Norwood Simmons. There will be a formal opening for this exhibition today at City Hall at 7 p.m. So again, this may be something that is interesting to attend if you're interested in Puerto Vallarta's history. I also wanted to tell you about an important archeological find that was extracted illegally from our country back in the 1950s, and this has been recovered. It is titled El Portal del Inframundo, or the Underworld Portal. Apparently, it took the National Institute of Anthropology and History over 55 years to track down this important piece from the Olmec Empire, originally found in Chalcatzingo in the state of Morelos. Apparently, somebody had stashed it away somewhere in the state of Colorado in the United States, and hopefully it will be on display soon somewhere where we can all enjoy it. The recovery was a joint cooperative effort from the government of Mexico and the government of the United States. So that's an important recovery. Here's another important recovery. Another large crocodile has been captured. This is number 666. That sounds evil to me. A large evil. Paco, come on, pum. There you go. A large male specimen over 2 meters long that had been roaming around Colonia Educación, which is right behind Plaza Galerías. The specimen was in good condition and has been safely relocated. And I have another one about recovery. This will allow us to segue into some of the changes we're going to see here at Coffee and Headlines. This is about the Mexican peso, which has reached its strongest level in a long time. It is now at 1756 pesos per dollar. And while this may have favorable implications for many, it also has presented an increasing challenge for me personally, as 95% of my earnings are in U.S. currency. As you know, most of my earnings come from you through Buy Me a Coffee. And unfortunately, Buy Me a Coffee does not allow me to configure my earnings in Mexican pesos. Their choices in currency are limited, so we earn in dollars just because that's the way Buy Me a Coffee works. And we use Buy Me a Coffee as a tool that empowers creators like myself to do our work and put our skill set to good use. There are other tools out there like Patreon and so forth and so on. This has been recommended to me, but I find myself invested in Buy Me a Coffee for better or for worse. But let me give you a glimpse as to my life, just because I think you may be curious about it. This shows that in the last 30 days, Buy Me a Coffee, or you have sponsored me with $650 through donations, which is the coffees that you buy, or through membership, $522 in membership. And that is for the last 30 days. This used to be around 14,300 pesos when the dollar was closer to 22 pesos per dollar. But at the current rate, it is closer to 11,700 pesos, which is less. So we're not getting rich here. Just in case you're wondering, how successful the broadcast is. It is successful to keep me alive and happy, but we're definitely not getting rich here. Early on, when we decided to found Coffee and Headlines, I decided, I don't want to be one of those YouTubers or influencers that is looking for huge numbers. I want my niche market to be very specific, and that has to do with English-speaking locals living in Puerto Vallarta, not English-speaking locals coming to Mexico or some other broader category, just Puerto Vallarta. This is where I live. So the challenge, of course, has always been to put my skill set to good use and to continue to create a thriving community without advertising, not affecting viewers adversely, or at least not too much. We haven't really raised our membership or our coffee rates too much. Well, coffees did go from $3 to $4, but we haven't touched membership since the beginning. And today we make the first of three important announcements regarding changes here at Coffee and Headlines, as we look for creative ways to generate more income through the project without affecting its integrity. So I want to show you the first one, which is not raising memberships, although that's coming up later on this week. But let me put something on the screen. I want to show you the Buy Me a Coffee page, which you are probably already familiar with because, as you know, you can go here and pursue a membership. And when you click join, you are given a choice to join for $4 per month or $30 per year. These numbers are going to change later on this week, probably by Friday. So if you want to save yourself, if you want to support Coffee and Headlines, but save yourself some money, you may want to become a member sometime in the next 2 or 3 days. But that's not what I want to show you today. As you know, if you go here, there is the homepage. If you go to membership, this shows you the membership level that you can pursue, and we currently have 250 members. Yay. Then we go to the posts, which is where you find all these things that are exclusive for members. We go to gallery, and in gallery, I only have one photo that I posted of silly me trying to carve a pumpkin, and that's only open for members. But I want to show you commissions, which is another feature that Coffee and the Buy Me a Coffee offers, and this is something that we're going to start doing here at Coffee and Headlines. Commissions. The first one is called the Business Walk Around feature. This is something that we've done but never really monetized before. This is what happens when I go around looking at businesses that I come across that I didn't know anything about, and I go in and I take photos and I take videos and I turn it into a little walk around feature. Now you are going to have the ability to sponsor one of these. Maybe you are a business owner and you would like to get the word out about your new business, or maybe your business is not new, but you still want to show people where it is. So for $100, you will be able to get a short visit to your business, and I will take the usual videos and photos that I usually take. I will turn it into a 5-minute or so feature during a broadcast, and then I will repurpose it as a standalone video, and I will put it in our walking tour playlist on YouTube. So this is one thing that is new. So this is not an advertiser. This is an opportunity for me to continue showcasing great businesses that you can find in Puerto Vallarta. Maybe you are an art gallery, maybe you are a restaurant and you want people to get to know you better. This is going to be possible by commissioning a walk around. And the second one follows, which is a neighborhood walking tour. Yes, we are commissioning neighborhood walking tours moving forward. That does not mean that I'm going to stop walking on my own, but the reality of it is it's a lot easier for me to go walk around my neighborhood because this is where I live. This is where I do my errands. But maybe you are curious about that neighborhood where you are going to be renting a house next season, or maybe you are a shop that wants to showcase your own neighborhood and you want to commission a walking tour on a specific neighborhood. Now you are able to do that through the Buy Me a Coffee website. We are setting those at $80 per walk. And of course, walking tours are a lot longer. They are up to half an hour in length, and they also live on their own in our YouTube channel. So if you are willing or able or excited about sponsoring these are now available for you to consider. And these are the first of three important announcements that we're going to make this week. And we'll see how that goes. And now I want to turn over to the weather so that we can continue with our broadcast. That doesn't look like the weather, does it? Let me make it look like the weather. There it is. Jesus parkouring Christ. It is sunny out there. It is. It is 27 degrees right now, and we have 69% humidity, which is not pretty, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 81%. Our forecast for today says it's going to be humid with clear skies throughout the day, a high of 32 and a low of 23. Tomorrow, Tuesday, it's going to be humid with mostly clear skies, a high of 32 and a low of 23. And then on Wednesday, another humid day with mostly clear skies, but a few clouds may be wandering around, a high of 31 and a low of 23. Very low chances of rain in the forecast. There was a chance of rain predicted for this past Sunday, for yesterday, and I saw some ominous gray clouds around the Emiliano Zapata area, but actually I don't know if there was any rain. Here in near Versalles, there was no rain to be reported. Moving right along, I got an interesting question this morning that I want to bring to your attention. I love it when you send me places where I need to learn new things. And this is exactly what happened this morning. A viewer reached out to me and said, "Buenos dias, Paco. What are your thoughts on the pedophilia flags that were included in the gay parade? This is the first time that I have seen these flags, and I am curious about if the gay community is indeed supportive, or perhaps pedophilia is an incorrect description. I think it is MAP. I've never heard of this. Thank you for your reply and for your informative broadcast. I enjoy it very much." Well, that sent me on a wild goose chase this morning because, number one, I didn't know that there were pedophilia flags. And the only relationship that I have with MAP is this thing you look at when you're looking for a direction. So the first thing that I did is I did a Google search on pedophilia flag, and yes, the colors corresponded to the colors in this photograph that was featured here. And then I went and found out what MAP is, and I learned that MAP are initials for minor attracted person. And MAP, I learned, is an umbrella term that includes pedophile, which is an individual attracted to a prepubescent child, a hebephile, which is an individual attracted to a pubescent child, and an ephebophile, which is an individual attracted to a post-pubescent child, a teen, ages 15 to 19. So I gathered all kinds of new information on the topic this morning, and I'm always grateful for that. Now, going back to the original questions, what are your thoughts on the pedophilia flags that were included in the Gay Pride Parade? Well, I didn't go to the parade, but in my recollection of parades that I've gone to, A gay pride parade is both a parade and a march, and there's always going to be the presence of elements that push our envelope and push our comfort level. And perhaps that is why those flags were there. Um, is it pedophilia or is it MAP? I don't know. I really don't know. But I can tell you this much. I don't quite understand why people tend to relate pedophilia with gay community. You know, the gay community, number one, is not a court of law. And for that matter, the gay community is as broad and diverse as the Black community or the Hispanic community or the Jewish community or the Black community or the white community. So I don't know that there's a spokesperson for the gay community, certainly not in Puerto Vallarta. I don't think there's a person that speaks for the whole community, just as I don't speak for the English-speaking locals community. I'm happy to address the wants and needs for a segment that relates to what we have to offer here. But no, I don't think. First of all, I cannot answer the question because I don't represent a community. I only represent myself, and my take on this issue is as follows: there are very important definitions out there, but we tend to be very judgy about these things. I have friends in Puerto Vallarta that are attracted to people that are younger than them, but not all of them are gay and not all of them are men. So, and they are all very productive members of our society. So who am I to label people? I am no one to label people. Who am I to judge people based on their choices, provided that they're not harming anybody? I can't be judging people. And I worry that a lot of times we spend a lot of time judging people without knowing all the facts. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this gives us some insight as to what is good and what is not so good about judging people and applying labels and so forth and so on. I look forward to your comments on that one. And that's that. Let's see what else we have. Oh, yes. My friend Kennedy Morgan sent this to me. He is doing these conscious life mixers. And the next one is coming up on June 13 at 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's difficult for me to attend. But this mixer, as described by him, is a fantastic opportunity for businesses and individuals whose practices align with conscious living, as well as anyone in the community interested in exploring the world of holistic, organic, metaphysical health practices and products. You'll have the chance to promote your business and practices. So don't forget to bring along your flyers, business cards, and promotional materials. And if you have samples, specials, or coupons to share, be sure to bring those as well. This sounds like a lot of fun. I wish I could attend, but again, it conflicts with the time in which I do my broadcast. But how wonderful is it to see that there's all this diversity of communities here in Puerto Vallarta that we can all choose to be a part of. I will leave you with the link to the Conscious PV Business Community group on Facebook so that you can pursue this on your own. Another announcement that I'd like to make comes from the Joint Co-working Hotel, which is a place where I do my music appreciation presentations. As I've mentioned many times, Joint has this great program, this adult education program called Grow by Joint. That's the name of the hotel. That's not the thing that we stick in our mouths when we want to get high. But Joint is now announcing a new class called Acting for Stage, Film, and Social Media, where you'll be able to discover the transferable skills of acting to unlock your potential on the stage, in front of the camera, and in the digital realm. This sounds like a lot of fun, and classes are going to be starting on Friday, June 2nd, which is this Friday, from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Again, I will leave this information in the show notes so that you can pursue it on your own. And this one has very little to do with us, but it made me laugh big time over the weekend. I saw that the National Anthropology Museum in Mexico City is announcing that they have lockers so that you can leave your tchotchkes in a locker while you enjoy your tour of the museum. But I love their choice of phrase at the beginning of the announcement. Si eres de los que carga hasta con el perico. If you are among those that even schleps along your parrot. This is a beautiful, very traditional Mexican slang phrase. A person that carga hasta con el perico is your best friend when you go on a trip and your best friend packed a huge suitcase and you didn't. Or somebody that goes out to run errands and goes out with a big bag and not a small one. So this is a great Mexican phrase that I thought you would enjoy getting to know. Cargar hasta con el perico, or to even bring the parrot along. We don't know why parrots are part of this phrase. I tried to do some research this morning. Parrots have no fault in this issue, but that's that. I also wanted to let you know that I learned, thanks to Mexico's SIAP, which is the Servicio de Información Agroalimentaria y Pesquera, or the Service of Agricultural and Fishing Information. I learned this morning that Mexico is the second largest producer of frambuesa or raspberry in the world, only behind Russia. So please know that frambuesa is the word that we use for raspberry, and please know that Mexico is the second largest producer in the world. Who knew? And last but not least, I think this is the last thing before our comment section. Lavender harvesting season in Mexico is here, and this article that I'm going to share in the show notes is going to tell you exactly where you need to go if you want to take fabulous photographs like this one for your Instagram feed or whatever. And this now, of course, brings us to our chit chat section. Again, I was just so excited this morning about so much information to share today. Let us see what we have. Lots of good mornings as always. Oh, Gary, happy anniversary, PV. You don't look a day over. You don't look a day older, but I do see that Puerto Vallarta is getting, well, not older, but it is definitely growing. Croc 66, Croc 666, the devil croc. That's exactly what I thought this morning. Maria Santa Lucia says, Paco, I have been trying to book a tour with Estero El Salado, but I do not hear back from them. Any updates? Also, I think you mentioned a trip to San Blas for a tour of the mangroves. Any updates? Thank you. Love your show. Let me address these two very important comments. Number one, I don't know why the Estero El Salado is not responding, but they are there. If you are curious about it, Maria, it is as simple as hopping on an Uber or walking or taking the bus and going to the Estero El Salado and finding out what's going on. Secondly, I did mention a trip to San Blas for a tour of the mangroves. Any updates? Well, the update, Maria, is that as I am trying to find a way to stay afloat in this economy, as I'm trying to put food in Luna's mouth and my own, I'm not doing a lot of tours anywhere. Maybe that is something else that Coffee and Headlines should do, to find friends that are willing to sponsor a tour. So no, you won't see me going to San Blas to look at the mangroves when I am having a challenging time meeting my bills and keeping Luna well fed. Hopefully, through a little bit of wizardry, we will be able to go back to doing tours in the future. Oh, and then Maria also comments, you deserve an increased membership to 10 pesos and buy me a coffee to 5. Well, thank you very much for saying that I deserve it. I have yet to look at the numbers. But again, hopefully, as we do look at the numbers or introduce some things that you can commission, we will be able to consider other things. Oh, Maria is really chatty today. I love it. Maybe a weekly publication like The Village Voice, like in New York, or Time Out, which is a service that can put it together for the area. There is so much talent in Puerto Vallarta. I am sure one on the entertainment venues can help. Maria, I can tell you that I have benefited from publications like The Village Voice in New York or Time Out. In fact, we have Time Out Mexico. But I can also tell you that the business of doing print publications is very, very challenging. And the business of doing an events calendar is also very, very challenging. But I will be making important announcements on that later on this week, as well as I am putting together a workshop to empower people to pursue better online promotion of their events. That's all I'm able to say right now, but you will be hearing from me sometime soon. Let's see. Brian says those are trans pride flags. Again, I didn't know. I didn't know about that, but those are colors that are new to me. And again, I'm learning new things every single day, and I'm happy to do that. Maria chimes in again. I would love to go on a tour with you and certainly be willing to pay for it. Either local, Guadalajara, or any other places. You are so intelligent. You can also offer classes or history, culture, learning, the language, etc., etc. Thank you very much for such wonderful suggestions. I have dear friends that offer great walking tours around Puerto Vallarta, and I would never want to compete directly with them. That is one of the reasons why I have been reluctant to do walking tours with other people. Number two, when I'm doing walking tours for Coffee and Headlines, I'm minding my equipment, I'm looking around, I am taking photos, I am shooting video, and it makes it very challenging to multitask. Trust me, I've brought friends along on my walking tours for Coffee and Headlines, and it becomes very difficult to do everything at once. So on the one hand, I want to do walking tours to present here. On the other hand, I would love to bring people along, but there are other great providers in town that are already doing walking tours. If you would like to find out who these providers are, then feel free to write walking tour in the comment, and I will be happy to look for their Facebook pages, as they are really wonderful and well-informed people. And here is a cue. Paco, what do you consider to be the most reliable news source in Mexico? Well, I always go to the big newspapers from Mexico City. I go to Excelsior, El Universal. I go to a magazine called Proceso, which has a lot of political information. And those are probably my three biggest ones. If you want me to publish a list of all the sources that I look through on a daily basis for news, I could easily put together a page on the Coffee and Headlines website, so that you can look at those. But those are the ones that I look at. Of course, they publish in Spanish, which I can understand, and part of my process is translating all that information so that you can be better connected. Libby says, yes, less judging, more loving one another, or at the very least, more understanding of all these labels, and more willing to get all the information first. That's what I say. Thank you for that. Brian says, we sometimes say you brought everything but the kitchen sink. I have heard that expression before. And yes, it is the English equivalent to carrying everything, including the parrot. I'm still looking for sources as to when we started saying that we carry everything, including the parrot, and because that's a really wonderful one. Mexico does not support pedophiles. Well, I don't know that anybody likes pedophiles, but I don't think that's what we're talking about here, or at least not specifically. But thank you for that information. Let's see. Oh, Gina, our favorite singing flight attendant with an attitude, and that's a good thing. Gina's going to be staying in Versailles for 2 weeks starting on June 1st. Hey, let's at least go out for coffee or something if you're going to be staying in my neighborhood. I look forward to seeing you, as I haven't seen you in forever. Chris asks, any update on the purchase of the 10 garbage trucks? They are definitely required. Oh, I hear you, Chris, but no, I have not seen anything published to that effect. Let's see. Barbara says walking tour. Okay, I'll be happy to get in touch with my walking tour providing friends and put together a list in the near future. And this brings us to the end of today's Coffee and Headlines. As always, I'm grateful for your support. And again, I'm grateful for your understanding that things need to change here at Coffee and Headlines. We're not making any money. We're not making a lot of money. But I should not chastise subscribers for this. I should also put my own skill set to good use in other areas. So yes, do expect an increase in membership costs, but also expect other alternatives for business people and community members to be able to keep this project afloat. I appreciate all of that, and I appreciate all of you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again sometime in the near future. Take care.